Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome back to another baseball video. Today I'm going to be talking about where George Springer is most likely going to sign and where he will play with that team. If you enjoy this, please leave a like and subscribe because I make baseball videos and I'm normally pretty fast with the breaking news that comes out, so be sure to sub for that. Starting off with the New York Mets, because the Springer's been choosing between the Mets or the Blue Jays. That's what I've heard. It's down to those two teams. The New York Mets in the outfield have Michael Conforto, who's playing right field right now. I see him playing right field next season and possibly longer. He hits the free agency market next year, but I think he will stay with New York. There is an opening in center field for the New York Mets with Brandon Nimmo at left field, but the thing with the New York Mets outfield is that they also have J.D. Davis, but he can play third base, so I don't see him playing in the outfield next season. Dominic Smith is a first baseman who's really good, and Pete Alonso is the first baseman who's really good, and they don't have a DH in the National League, so Dominic Smith has to end up playing left field, which takes up an outfield spot, and then your outfield's full because they have Conforto, Nimmo, and Smith in the outfield, and sometimes Jeff McNeil plays in the outfield as well, so they already have a pretty big outfield. And if they add Springer, he definitely go into center field, and either Brandon Nimmo or Jeff McNeil would end up being traded. That's the only way I see Springer fitting in to their team. If he were to go into their lineup, he would definitely be hitting fifth or fourth behind Michael Conforto and Dominic Smith and Pete Alonso. So if they add Springer, that's definitely a huge piece to their puzzle. They'll have great defense in the outfield. They'll have one of the best lineups. So I could definitely see him going to New York. He fits in really well there, but New York would also have to make some moves to make sure he can fit into the roster. Going over to the Jays, and since the Jays do have a DH, they could put Teoscar Hernandez or Gurriel Jr. into the DH spot, and then the outfield would look like Randall Grichuk in right field, Teoscar Hernandez in left, and or Gurriel in left and Hernandez can DH, and then Springer in center field. The Blue Jays do have an opening spot in center field right now, so they wouldn't have to move anything to take Springer. They would just have to pay him. But yeah, that's basically it. The Blue Jays have an opening in center field. Their lineup's already good with a bunch of young hitters who are just going to get better. Springer would definitely fit well in the middle of that lineup, just like with the Mets, hitting behind Bo Bichette and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Lourdes Gurriel and Teoscar Hernandez. So he'd definitely be an offensive upgrade for both teams and a defensive upgrade for both teams. The Mets definitely have more outfielders than the Blue Jays do on their MLB roster. So as far as right now, I would see him fitting in with the Blue Jays roster more than the Mets. But if the Mets move McNeil or Brandon Nimmo, I could definitely see George Springer going over to New York and playing in center field. These are just my predictions on where George Springer will play. I also think he will get a 5 to 6 year deal worth $100 to $130 million. Let me know in the comments what you think, and thank you for watching.